Good morning, YouTube family and friends. Hope you had a great week. My week it had a good thing happen, and then we'll get into that here in a minute. Today is Saturday, February 14th, 2026. Happy Valentine's Day to all of you out there. I hope you have a loved one or a significant other or just, wherever you're at in your relationship. Just hope you enjoy each other and today. So it could be something special. And for all those out there like me who are single, tomorrow will come soon enough. All right, so let's start with the good thing. I weighed myself this morning, and by golly gee, I weighed in at 199 pounds. I don't remember the last time I was below 200. God, I'm thinking 8th grade, maybe? 8th, 9th, somewhere in there. Wow, I can't believe I made it. Made it under 200. That puts me at a 3-pound weight loss for the week and a total of 37 pounds down for being back on Mounjaro while dealing with a host of medical issues, a lot of anxiety and stress and depression issues. But at least we have that bright spot to go. I'm going to try to cut this video down to 2 main topics. Let's see. Monday, I had my video call with what turned out to be a psychotherapist with MetLife. Now, that's who I applied for my long-term disability through my job. And so that's going to be the first interview. And my regular therapist is also a psychotherapist. So, that was very stressful and anxious. And she was nice. The lady was nice. But she had to ask me some questions. She let me know up front that I am going to ask you some personal questions, so I don't want you to be alarmed, and just answer honestly and tell me how you feel. And so I don't remember all the questions, but one of the first questions was, which doctor said that you couldn't work initially? I was like, well, no doctor told me I couldn't work initially. And I told her no. I had 2 surgeries this year, and I was already starting to struggle. And after that second surgery of having that thymectomy on June 9th, I just dealing with everything. I told her I got the okay from the thoracic surgeon to go back to work on July 21st. And I sent that release to go back to work to our HR team, but I let them know that mentally I'm just not able to come back to work yet. And I had an appointment scheduled with my primary care physician to kind of talk about it with her. So they approved my extended leave. I had already used up all my FMLA at this time because I had 2 surgeries. So FMLA was used up, but I had tons of sick leave. Last year, or the year before, I was maxed out on sick leave. No, it would have been last year, I guess 2026, so it would have been 2024. Time flies. But I had a lot of sick leave built up. So They allowed me to continue to be out on sick leave for a little bit longer. And hang on, my mouth gets so dry. I hate that it's dry mouth. But anyway, yeah. So I went and saw my primary care physician. This was in July. And after talking with her at the end, she highly recommended that I go see a psychiatrist and a therapist both. Now, she couldn't refer me to them. That's something that primary doctors can't do. They can't refer you to them, but she can make a recommendation that she strongly suggested that I go see one, and she gave me a piece of paper that had several options for me to call. And so, and one of the options there was an immediate care place in town. So I did. I went ahead and made an appointment with both a therapist and a psychiatrist at the immediate care. And I saw both of them, and they both recommended that, yes, I do need treatment. And so they recommended, they couldn't refer again, of course, but they recommended that I seek a regular therapist and a psychiatrist that I can start seeing on a regular basis, because they couldn't see me on a regular basis because they're just immediate care. So I saw them one more time each until I was able to get a new therapist and psychiatrist, scheduled. And so once I did have them scheduled, I no longer saw them anymore. And so that's where I was at. I started to see them in early or late August. I don't remember now. But no, I kept HR informed, and they understood. They understood, and they're happy that I was seeking professional help. So they knew I have a whole host of medical issues that I've been dealing with for quite a while, and they understood why I would be struggling mentally. So, but they said, unfortunately, they could only hold my position until September 15th. And if you're not ready to come back to work at that time or get a release from the psychiatrist to come back to work, that they would have to open my position up. Now, they said I'm not terminated at that time. I would still be allowed to be on sick leave. And they set a new date of sometime in October. So, but yeah, the September 15th came around. I think a few days before the 15th, I went ahead and let HR know that I'm not going to be ready to come back to work. And unfortunately, yeah, I'm going to have to lose my position. And I went ahead over the weekend and I told her that I cleared out my desk. So I had a lot of my cruise stuff there. So all my cruise ships and pictures and all my magnets that I put up. So, and of course my stitch is still there. So, but anyway, okay. So I'm talking too much about this. So long story short, HR extended me out again for the final date of January 15th of 2026. And if I couldn't get, they said I'm more than welcome to apply for any position within the company as long as I had the release from a doctor that I can go back to work. Well, the psychiatrist could not fill. The psychiatrist told me, and the ladies at the front desk told me in October that their policy is they can't fill out any type of work or give me a note to go back to work until at least 6 months being seen. So, what I did is HR and our benefits company both recommended that I apply for long-term disability, just something to keep me going after if I'm not able to come back to work on the January 15th, because it takes several months, they said, to get accepted, if you get accepted. And so I applied for a long-term disability through MetLife. That's the insurer who my company went through. And of course, they needed a physician's statement. And I told them, I said, my psychiatrist is not allowed to fill anything out until 6 months. The therapist, no, it's the same organization, but therapist, he can't fill out any paperwork. He's not an actual doctor. No, he's a psychotherapist, so he's not allowed to fill any of that out. And all my other doctors, no, my liver doctor, my cirrhosis isn't to a point of disability yet, and it's hard to get disability on cirrhosis. You pretty much have to be on deathbed, on top of the list for a liver transplant. And my generalized myasthenia gravis, he's not. He says my myasthenia gravis is not to a point of disability, so he didn't understand why I'm not working. So the only hope I had was to get my primary care physician to fill it out, and that's what MetLife recommended, since she was the one who saw me initially about how I was struggling mentally. So, but she really hesitated. I really had to pretty much plead with her to please fill this out. No, you're my last hope. And she finally agreed to it, but she left several of the sections blank because she said, I'm not the one treating you for your mental health right now. Yes, I saw you initially and I recommended that you seek professional help, but I'm not the one who's treating you. So most of the stuff I can't fill out. It needs to be filled out by your psychiatrist. So I was like, thank you, at least something. And so she filled it out and she faxed it to MetLife, and that was good enough for now. So then things go by. In December, MetLife told me they're struggling to get my medical record. It was a struggle to get medical records from all my doctors. Holy cow. Oh, man. That was a struggle. They were trying to get them. Then I had to try to get them because they weren't sending them. And that gave me so much stress and anxiety in itself. And then come December, end of December, they told me I'm still missing some stuff. And so they said that they had to extend it out, the new date to get this finalized to March 5th. But said I need to have a new physician statement. And I'm like, I told them, no, I have my next appointment is a month out with my psychiatrist. So, but I can try to get it from her then because it'll be 6 months at that time. And so I did have, I should say, I had a psychiatrist appointment a little after that time when I told him. But I told him I won't be able to get it at this appointment, but at my next appointment. So when I went to my psychiatrist appointment in January, I let her know that, in February, I need a new physician's statement from my psychiatrist since now it's all about the mental health. And she says, okay, well, I'm not going to change medications on you this time, so I can see you in a month. He said, go ahead and bring it at that appointment, which was February 12th. So this last Thursday, and I will see you then, and we can go over it then. So, but before I get into that, I wanted to get back to this video call. I'm kind of jumping around. The video call that I had with MetLife, her name was Marcia at MetLife, And it was, as we got going, this way she was talking, it really gave me the feeling that I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to get it, because she said it really does sound like it's your physical issues that is causing all this. And I'm like, well, yeah, I have a lot of medical issues, which is causing me to have the, the high anxiety, a high stress, and just the mental aspect. I just can't deal with it anymore. And I was tired all the time, but now I'm extremely tired all day, every day. I wake up, I'm tired, but it doesn't take much to get me into the extreme tiredness all day that I'm dealing with. And I let her know that my neurologist said that for my tremors and for my shakiness that was giving me issues with walking and arm and hand issues, no, he says he believes that it's all mental. Oh, okay, great. It may sound like it's all in my head, but he says you need to continue to work on it with your psychiatrist, because he said he believed that most of my tremors and shakiness were being caused by the stress and anxiety. So I was like, okay. But he did have me start seeing a speech therapist and a physical therapist. So, but anyway, I let Marcia know, who's at MetLife, the psychotherapist there, and I was holding it back. I was trying to hold back tears, and I was starting to shake bad. And she just, then she says, I want to be honest with you. As of this point, I don't think you're going to be qualified for this. I'm sorry, but no. And I was in tears by that point, and I was trying to talk, and so embarrassed that I was tearing, I was crying, tears running down my face, and I'm trying to talk. What, you're trying to hold back a full blown explosion of tears, and she said, "Don't worry about it. It's okay." But she says she will try to get a hold of my psychotherapist, Brett, and so hopefully she'll get hold of him, and then she would also reach out to the medical staff that they have at MetLife, who is also involved with these long-term disabilities, and she's going to give them her notes, and I'm sure the video call was recorded, and they'll get to watch the video call, and she says they might call you with follow-up questions, or they might not. So I'm like, okay. And I did let her know that, my psychiatrist did say that she would take a look at that physician's statement for the mental illness at my next appointment, which is on February 12th. So it should be in time of the March 5th deadline. She's like, that's good, because we do need that. It's like, okay. But I just, I was, we ended up ending the call, and I was my crying had stopped a little bit, but we ended the call, and as soon as the call was ended, Niagara Falls. I was like, oh my God. I was so shaky. I was kind of like doing this, and tears was running down my face. I ended up having to call my mom and just have her talk me down, because I felt like I was going to have I thought I was going to lose it. I really thought I was going to lose it. So, but anyway, like 19 minutes already. I didn't want to do a long video on this, but I'm sorry, folks. That's why I'm only doing 2 subjects. So, then I had my dentist appointment on Tuesday. had a feeling cavity filled, and I had a big anxiety attack over that, but I won't get into that. And so last Thursday, I had my 1 month follow up with Dr. Dusad, my psychiatrist, and I brought this stuff with me. I brought the application, or no, the physician statement. It's not called physician statement since it's on the mental side, but I printed out a copy of a brand new one. I also printed out a copy of what my primary care provider had faxed to MetLife when I first applied, and I let her know that I told her back then that my PCB filled it out, but there was a lot of empty spaces she had to leave on there, and she wrote on there that they were going to have to wait until you were able to fill this out. So, but anyway, it's the meeting started off fine. But I had a copy of that. I had a copy of the back and forth messaging I had with Dr. Chen online, my communications. I printed that out, and I highlighted the area where he told me on that he believed that my issues were being caused by the anxiety and stress and not the other way around. So, and he didn't say anything about my severe tiredness. My liver doctor said that the tiredness could be a little bit of the cirrhosis, but she didn't think it was the main cause of it. She thought it would be the myasthenia gravis, but she couldn't be sure because she's not a neurologist. So, but there's a chance it could be a little bit of the cirrhosis, a little bit of the myasthenia gravis, a little bit of the medications that the psychiatrist has me on, and a little bit from the stress and anxiety I was experiencing. It could be just a little bit of everything that's come together, and that's why I'm drained every day. I have to push myself to do stuff. And when I get back, I have to lay down. I'm just totally tired. Like right now, my eyes are so tired. Oh, that snuck up on me. Oh. So, yeah. But anyway, back to the psychiatrist. So, because we always started with, she says, how's the medications going? Do you think they're going well? Do you think you need to change any? Do you think they need to be changed or whatnot? And I told her, I've been having real bad anxiety attacks lately. And I told her I'm breaking down way easier when I'm getting stressed or I'm having an anxiety attack. I'm breaking down and crying because I usually hardly ever do that. I'm a person who doesn't cry. And I told her that was happening on a regular basis now with any type of stuff going on. It causes me stress and have anxiety. So, and I also printed out my job duties, kind of like if you're looking for a job, all the stuff that's entailed. I had a copy of that for my position, so I made her a copy to give her because there's a section on that form that is going to talk about, what's his job duties? Do you think he can do this, this, this? Well, after we got done talking about medications, she's like, okay, well, I want to see you in a month. And it was like, she normally does, that's the end of the visit. I was like, oh, also, don't forget, I brought my application or the physician's statement for you to take a look at. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, but it has to be a year before I do anything with that. I was like, I pushed back, like, no, you told me, and the front desk ladies told me that it just has to be 6 months of seeing and treating up somebody until you look at that. So no, So you're saying it's a year now? No, that's not what you told me. And so she's like, and I also don't usually fill these out. I'm like, what? What? And she said, let me take a look at all this stuff. And so I gave it to her. And she started taking a look at it. And she's like, yeah, this stuff I shouldn't be filling out. But that's like, I told her, MetLife needs it from you because you're treating me for my anxiety and stress for my mental issues. And then she said, no, you're having those issues because you're a complicated case because of all the medical issues that you have. And I was like, yes, I know. And that's why I'm having all these mental issues. And then I pointed out to her, I said, there's a printout in there from my communications back and forth online with my neurologist that he stated in there that a lot of my issues with the tremors and the shakiness that's causing me walking issues and issues with my hand. I can't even be at my computer here. My hands get trembly. It's hard to work the mouse and it's hard to type when they start tremoring. So, but he says that it's being caused by the stress and anxiety. And now you're saying it's being caused by my medical issues. Like, what? Can't you guys get together and figure this out? And so she's like, well, I can fill out a few of these, but I can't fill out the rest. And so she started to fill it out, and I kind of look at it. She was filling out the copy I gave her of what my primary care provider, Dr. Armbruster, filled out and got faxed in. I was like, no, I'm sorry. Are you filling that out on the copy of what was sent in initially? The one that Dr. Armbruster had filled out some? And she says, yes. It's like, no, I'm sorry, no. There's a clean copy of that, and I can't have you fill that out and fax in because it's already been faxed in, and it's been fax stamped on it. So I'm sorry, they won't accept that. I need a brand new one filled out. And this is where she started to get kind of snooty with me, and she's like, well, I got other patients to see. So, and she opened up her drawer and just tossed it in her drawer and closed her drawer kind of like rudely. Like, gave the impression of, I don't do this. I'll do it later. She said, I'll get at it when I get a chance, but I got to see other patients. So I'll see you in a month. And it's like, don't forget, though, I need it by March 5th is the deadline. And she's like, I'll fill out what I can, and then it'll get faxed in. But no, if they don't accept it because not all the sections are filled out, then that's not going to be my fault. That's exactly how she said it. She said, it won't be my fault. Like, I was almost in tears, but I was holding it back. But I was shaky at the end of that appointment with her. I was so shaky, but I got up. I couldn't talk anymore because if I did, I was just going to lose it. So I let her walk me out to the front desk, and she said, I need you to make another appointment for 1 month. And the front desk person said, no problem. And she started to walk away. I said, thank you. It's like, have a good day, she said. And by the time I walked outside, I broke down. I wasn't quite full blown, but I couldn't stop tears running down my eye, like that as I'm walking to my car. And then as soon as I got in my car, it was like Niagara Falls. It was like, I just sat in my car. It was a good 5 minutes sitting in my car because I'm like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Because it's like the main two doctors that seem to be causing all my issues is my neurologist for my myasthenia gravis and my psychiatrist that's treating me for my mental issues. The therapist is not allowed to fill out that paperwork because he's not he's a psychotherapist, and they are not allowed to fill out that type of paperwork. Just hearing the psychiatrist, Dr. Dusad, just say, no, I don't think I'm the one that should be filling this out. And I forgot to tell you, she also said, no, I usually don't fill this out. I haven't never filled this out before for somebody. I'm like, what? That was before she just tossed it in her desk drawer. So I did say something. I said, I'm sorry, but the MetLife, they needed to come from you because you're treating me for my mental health right now. So I'm like, I didn't say this out loud. But I wanted to. When I was in my car, just bawling my eyes out, and I'm thinking to myself, she lied to me, or she's trying to get out from filling out that paperwork. Because she initially told me when I brought it up, and it's the same thing that the receptionist told me, is that, no, we can't, it's company policy, we can't fill any of that type of stuff out. No, you're okay to go back to work or anything to do with this disability or anything until we've seen and treated you for 6 months. And that's what she said. She didn't say she could never fill anything out, and she shouldn't be filling this out. And then when I mentioned it to her in October, saying, no, I know you can't fill this out yet, but I had my primary care pushed back some, but she went ahead and agreed to fill some of it out, but she left most of it blank and saying, no, this will have to be filled out by Dr. Dusad, his psychiatrist. And so that's the notes that she provided on there, and that's why I printed it out, just so she could see that my primary care provider said the other sections need to be filled out by her, but the first section could be filled out by her as well. Now, they were just basic stuff. But she didn't say then that, no, I never fill these out. Don't depend on me to fill this out because I never fill this out. I never had to fill it out. She didn't say that back then. And then in my January meeting with her, I mentioned, I know you can't fill this out yet, but February will be the 6-month mark, and I need to have this physician statement for mental health completed by you in February. And she's like, that's okay. Go ahead and bring it with you at our next appointment, which will be in a month. So I said, great, perfect. Then, of course, I had got a call later on, next day, but like a week or so after that, I got a call from my long-term disability specialist, who I've been working with MetLife. And she was just giving me an update that they received the last of my medical records, thank God. And I told her I had just recently talked to my psychiatrist, and she said at our next appointment, which will be February 12th, she agreed to take a look at that, and we could look at it together and see what we can do. And she's like, oh, that's good, because we need that by March 5th. If we don't get it, the chances of you to be approved are slim. If you don't have a doctor stating that you can't work and the reasons why you can't work, you're not going to be approved. So, okay, I'll make sure that she gets it done. And I had that on my mind as she's telling me, as my psychiatrist was telling me this in the meeting. And I'm like, Why didn't you tell me in October when I was talking about it with you? Why didn't you tell me last month, early January, when I told you, asked you about the form? You said, yeah, bring it in and we'll take a look at it together. You didn't tell me then. And I was like, I'm almost starting to tear up now. So, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to call my disability specialist, or I can't remember her specific title, but she's my contact at MetLife. She's kind of the person working with me on this long-term disability application or claim, whatever you want to call it. So, but I just broke down again, and I can't trust my psychiatrist. She either lied to me or she's just trying to put off doing that form because she doesn't want to. And I got her saying, no, it's the medical issues. And I'm seeing the neurologist saying, no, it's mental health issues. So I didn't want to break down on this. No, but I see my therapist, Brett, this coming Thursday. And I think I'm going to tell him what happened with the psychiatrist. And let him know I don't feel like I can trust her anymore. And my doctors are basically screwing me because I can't work. Not how tired I am every day. Not with me having issues walking sometimes, back balance issues, the shaking, especially with my hands. What am I supposed to do? Okay, folks, I'm going to end it. You all have a nice day. Bye-bye.